Hey, y'all. Welcome to the Sales Chalk Talk Show brought to you by Redcap Sales Coaching. I'm Hugh Little, your head sales wizard at Redcap Sales Coaching and Elite Sales Academy, where you can learn to make selling easy, fun, and profitable. If you're a chiropractor, a realtor, an HVAC pro, or you run any kind of service oriented business, you can learn how to serve more people and dramatically increase your conversion ratio, sales, and revenue. Stay tuned, and you'll find out how you can take the first step to get started growing your business into the successful enterprise you really want it to be. I'm broadcasting today from Sebring, the very best part of Central Florida. Hey, you're invited to continue making Sales Chalk Talk a part of your learning in 2022 and beyond. Every week, you'll be able to get inside the heads of some of the most brilliant people in the areas of sales, marketing, leadership, business, and success. You can listen to all the past and future Chalk Talks at redcapsalescoaching.com/podcast. Or you can listen on iTunes, and we're just about everywhere else you listen to podcasts too. On upcoming shows, we'll have a great lineup of guests coming up for you here on Chalk Talk. So stay tuned and learn more and more about how to build your business and your sales. Today, we're most honored to have author and sales expert Kay Miller with us. Let me tell you just a little bit about Kay. Kay is the muffler mama. She was the number one muffler salesperson and territory manager of the year for a company for which she sold Walker Exhaust. Now she's an author of a tremendous book, Uncopyable Sales Secrets. Kay helps marketers and salespeople create an uncopyable advantage. She lives in Seattle, Washington with her daughter Kelly and husband Steve. Kay's website is uncopyablesales.com. We'll tell you what's available to you there just a little later in the show. I think you can tell you're in for another fun, fascinating half hour. So sit down, buckle up, and hold on, folks, because here we go. Hey, Kay, welcome to Chalk Talk.
Well, thank you very much. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, I've been looking forward to having you on the show. So, we're going to be talking about sales today, and that's just one of our favorite subjects around here. And we're going to be talking about your book, Uncopyable Sales Secrets. So, to start off, Uncopyable Sales Secrets is an interesting title. What's uncopyable about sales?
Well, what's uncopyable, easy for me to say, about sales is you, the person who is selling, the person who is representing the product or the service. Because you might even have competition, that are selling the same thing against you. But the difference is you are selling in an uncopyable, unique way. And so you're the secret ingredient.
One of the things I always tell my clients is to let people know that you can't get anyplace else what you can get here. Because it's exactly as you said, even if somebody is doing something very similar in terms of the service that they provide or the product that they offer, they don't get the team that they'll get at your place of business. And
Exactly.
it won't be
Exactly.
done
And
the same way.
we
Yeah.
just heard, well, there's a story in the book actually about a woman named Leslie, and she was selling IT services. And the company that was using her services said, well, we buy Leslie. That's what we buy because she gives us what she calls the white glove service. So they admitted they paid even a little more for the product. It's actually a service, but they didn't care because of what they were getting from the salesperson. So, you know, it's really the connection with the business or the salesperson that puts you up, helps you stand out from the crowd.
In your book, you talk about the importance of finding your moose. Now, I have to tell you that when we lived up in Colorado, my wife is a professional photographer. And she tried for years and years and years to find a moose to photograph. And for some reason, I don't know if they sent out memos or what, when she went looking for a moose to photograph, she could never find one. And I've been told that those suckers are a little bit mean. So, what do you mean by saying that you find your moose?
The good news is that moose is an analogy. So you don't actually have to deal with dangerous creatures, at least not the moose. But if you were to hunt moose, whether it's to shoot them or to shoot them with a camera, you would need to know where to go to find them. And you wouldn't go to the hot southwest, for example. You'd go up north to, like you said, Colorado, or further up north to Montana, or even to Canada, because your goal is to capture moose. And any time or energy or effort you spent on other animals would just be a waste of time because you want moose. So moose is what we call your target market, your ideal target customer. So you don't want to waste time on rabbits or bear or deer. You want moose. And it's a really easy way to remember that that's where it all starts. You don't want the wrong type of customer, the type of customer. I know you deal a lot with chiropractors. You don't want somebody who's just going to use a coupon and come in once, or, whatever other things that are not part of the profile customer that you want. So that customer that you want to attract and you really want to deal with is your moose.
That is a really tremendous point. And for those of you who are like me and you're not hunters and you don't like going out in the cold and tromping around in the mountains and the woods looking for a moose, maybe replays of the Rocky and Bullwinkle show would be the best.
I love that one. The cute moose.
That's right.
Can you do an imitation? I don't think I could, but I can hear it in my head.
Rocky.
I hear that a little bit there, yeah. And I'm also not a hunter, except for looking for deals on shoes.
There you
But I
go.
do like the analogy of, don't look for all the animals in the forest.
That's right.
Choose the one that you want. Choose the profile of the customer that you want to deal with, that you can serve the best, and that they can be, they're the easiest to work with, and you can make the most money and profit.
And one of the things that's really cool about that is that people tend to refer other people that are like them when you ask them for referrals. So if you find an ideal customer or an ideal practice member, an ideal client, and you ask for referrals, you're going to get more of your ideal clients. It's a
That's
wonderful
a
thing.
that's a great point, because maybe you don't want to ask, for referrals from the kind of clients that are a pain in the rear. Well, you might get rid of the pain in the rear if you're a really good chiropractor, but there's still a pain in your rear.
That's right. Now, years ago, when I first started selling in 1970, I thought that I was going to just go out and knock it dead. I thought I was going to be laughing my way to the bank every single week because there was no ceiling on my income, and I'm a pretty outgoing guy and I talk pretty well. If no was fatal, I'd have been dead in 1970 because there's a lot more to selling than just being a good talker. So, in your book, you tell the story about your first sales call. And as you put it, it was a disaster. My first 100 were like that, at least.
Right.
So,
I'm sure, yes.
so tell us what happened and what you learned from it.
Well, if you have any experience in sales at all, we all have our disasters. And in my case, since I was the first woman ever hired by this company, they were concerned about me being a woman calling on lumber yards and hardware stores and really male dominated industries, because that's what I was selling. Oh, I assured them, this will not be a problem. I can do this. Well, my first sales call, didn't go so well because I literally chickened out. I drove into this lumber yard and a load of lumber had just been delivered and things were crazy and all these men in hard hats and Levi's were running around and I just froze. I pulled into the parking lot and then like it was an out of body experience. I saw myself put my hand on the gear shift into reverse and back out and leave. So it was really, I was so mad at myself. So I didn't even get the chance to be rejected or say no because I chickened out first. So there are many humbling, many ways to be humbled in the sales process, right?
So, what did you learn from that?
I learned that there's nothing worse than the disgust you feel with yourself if you really, chicken out. And, to go anywhere in life, you have to take risks. And I went back to my apartment at the time that night and just really thought about it and thought, what's the worst that can happen? And of course, the worst that could happen is they could say, we don't want any, or, go away. And I decided, okay, I can live through that. So I went back and everything actually went fine. In that case, I did not hear no. They ended up buying some of my product and that led to bigger orders. But I start the book that way because I want people to know that everybody has failures in sales. And really, unless you are going beyond your comfort zone, you're not really making the most of your sales opportunities.
I'm of the opinion that the most important skill that somebody can develop in sales is listening. And I tell my clients on a regular basis that they need to learn to listen with their ears and their minds and their hearts. And you have some really good ideas about how salespeople can go beyond listening to uncover what the customer really wants. Unpack that for us.
Well, first of all, I talk about being like Sherlock Holmes, being like a detective, where you're not just listening, but you're looking for clues. So it could be their environment, seeing what they're buying already, looking more into their life, into their problems, getting to know all the aspects of what they deal with and asking the questions based on what you've learned with other customers. uh are you concerned about security or safety or you know lead times or asking them questions that you have already dealt with other clients. But yeah, listening is so huge. And I think of listening really as a discipline because we know how to listen. And most of us had our mom say, you've got two ears and one mouth for a reason. But it's a discipline because we all like to talk. And, you know, podcasts are fun because, we get to talk about ourselves. But you and I know that when we are in a sales situation, it's asking and getting the other person to talk and listening to them and being disciplined enough to hear what they're saying and not just wait till there's a silence so we can start talking, but really listening, asking follow-up questions and looking for clues.
If you can find out what people want and why they want it, you are well on your way to a sale, as long as they can afford your services. Because people buy what they want, they don't buy what they need. You could come look at my garage and see that that's true. There's
Well,
stuff in there that we bought that we wanted and we didn't need it. And now it's not even in the house. It's crazy.
that's funny. Well, I like what you said. That's another big point that I make in the book, and I'm sure you talk about this a lot as well. The word buy. No one ever says, "Oh, look at the car dealer just sold me this new car." No, we bought a new car. We bought, whatever decision is being made, the buyer always wants to feel like, we are the ones that made that decision. And if you can make it their idea, even better. But always thinking of the transaction, or transaction is not right, the relationship from the buyer's perspective. And that sounds obvious, and it reminds me of when you tell your kid to clean up their room. You need to clean up your room. I know, mom. So so knowing and doing are two different things. And I think we have to really keep that top of mind, because when we are, in the position of being sold to, a lot of times people are talking our ears off, right?
I think your kids and my kids must have come from the same place.
I think so. They've got that certain intonation. I know, mom, or I know, dad.
That's right. Exactly. Folks, we'll be right back with our very special guest, author and sales expert Kay Miller, and talk more about how you can gain an uncopyable advantage in your sales. Visit Kay's website at uncopyablesales.com. I highly recommend that you add Kay's book, Unstoppable Sales Secrets, to your business library today. You can order yours at amazon.com. Kay has made a very generous offer to all of you awesome Chalk Talk listeners. You can get a free copy of her great ebook, 5 Proven Secrets to Get in the Door. Just go to uncopyablesales.com/red. That's RED, and get your copy today. Now, when you get your copies of Uncopyable Sales Secret and the ebook, don't just let them sit in your bookshelf or your computer and gather dust. Read them again, apply them in your sales, and then go back to Amazon.com and write a 5-star review and tell the world how much Kay has helped you. So check out Kay's website at uncopyablesales.com right after the show. Or you can even pause the recording and check it out right now and take advantage of all the good stuff there. I promise you'll be really glad you did. Now, if you leave to look at the website, be sure you come back and listen to the rest of the show, though, because Kay has some more great stuff for you. We're back with our very special guest, sales expert Kay Miller. Again, Kay's website is uncopyablesales.com. You've already established the fact that you're uncopyable, I'm uncopyable, every salesperson out there is uncopyable. It seems to me that the challenge is to take advantage of that uncopyability. How do you do that?
Well, some of it I think goes back to the basics of just really being trustworthy. Because believe it or not, I mean, I'm sure you've had this experience where you call someone back when you're supposed to, and they say, "Hey, thanks for calling me back." And you're like, really? Isn't that how everybody does it? No, not everybody does it. So use being brilliant as at the basics, brilliant at the basics. I like to say that, to establish one level of your uncopyability, because it's not, everybody doesn't do that. But then also find a way to connect in a different way. Like I brought up Leslie. She promised the white glove service. When we in our Uncopyable brand, we have some branding things we do. We always wear orange. All of our products are orange, so that is something different that's associated with us. We have a different language. We call the prospect the moose. We have different things that are a brand that sets us apart. And then also, if you establish, a story, and especially if it's something that connects you with the customer, that makes you uncopyable. And in my book, I talk about when I was selling mufflers. I've had a very glamorous sales career. I went from selling hardware to mufflers and catalytic converters. Well, when I did that, I didn't have any experience. I didn't know much about cars. I'd certainly never installed a muffler. So I went to one of my customers and said, "Will you show me how to do this so I can understand the product from your perspective?" So not only did I learn about the product, but I had a great story, and I would share it with other people. And I got so much respect, and they saw me as being really different, that I would go under a car get all dirty and learn how to weld and do all that stuff to learn about my product. That really set me apart. So look for ways to be different. I think so many of us look at the competition and say, what are they doing? That's what we're going to try. Instead of saying, what can I use to be really unique?
And the rest of the story is that you became the muffler mama.
The Muffler Mama. So, yes, I got that nickname Muffler Mama. And that was another thing that set me apart and still does. And, I'm not even sure anybody else would want to be called Muffler Mama. But yes, if there are some things that are unique about you, I mean, you, for your branding, certainly have the red cap, and that's part of your brand. That sets you apart. But that's just one small example of being different, having your own brand.
Well, I just think it's flat awesome that you're the muffler mama.
Thank you. I like it too.
That's pretty darn good. Well, what is something that our listeners can do today to start getting more successful at selling?
I would recommend that your salespeople or business owners talk to one customer and say, will you tell me in your own words why you buy from me or why you buy from us? Why do you patronize our chiropractic office? Because we might think we know, but a lot of times you'll be surprised. And so our customers, the ones that buy from us, they know the downsides. Maybe we're more expensive or we have, delivery issues or who knows what the problem is. But they've still looked at the whole entire package and decided that we are the right choice. It could very well be the salesperson or the staff, the interaction, something that is outside of the actual service you're delivering or product that you're delivering. So, my favorite way is to actually ask a customer, get it in their words, and then you've got gold for future sales.
What a great idea to ask. That's that's really the crux of selling, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think, people again like to talk, they like to share things. So if you say, "Hey, will you tell me from your, perspective, what the decision-making process was?" They'll be happy to tell you. Just like when you go into somebody's business and say, "Hey, I want to learn about your business. Will you help me understand it?" Yes, they'd love to do that.
Okay, it's been absolutely marvelous having you with me here on Chalk Talk today. Before I let you go, I do have one more question for you. And this is one that we ask all of our guests on every single show. The question is based on one of my favorite books, The One Thing by Gary Keller of Keller Williams Real Estate. If you could give our listeners just one piece of advice that you consider to be the most important in gaining success in their businesses, their sales, their relationships, their lives, what's the one thing, Kay?
I would say it's all about connection. Again, we're not really selling the product or service as much as we are selling a connection with that person, a human to human connection. And if we do that, let the other person know that they are important, you'll set yourself up for success in life.
That's a piece of solid gold advice right there. Well, folks, here at Sales Chalk Talk, we believe in taking action. So go to Kay's website at uncopyablesales.com. Get your copy of Kay's book, Uncopyable Sales Secrets, today at amazon.com. Now, Kay has made a very generous offer to all of you awesome Chalk Talk listeners. Get your free copy of her great ebook, 5 Proven Secrets to Get in the Door. Just go to uncopyablesales.com/red and get your copy today. Take massive action. Don't procrastinate. Do it now. Go to Kay's website at uncopyablesales.com right away. I promise you'll be really glad you did. I also promised to give you some information about how to increase your business and sales. So here it is. If you'd like to start scaling your sales and revenue, you can chat with me and receive a free individualized sales success roadmap. Just go to redcapsalescoaching.com and you'll find a button on every page where you can schedule your free, no obligation, valuable session. You'll also find a ton of information at redcapsalescoaching.com that will help you tremendously in increasing your sales. Okay, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule today to come and share all this great stuff with me and with our audience. Come back and talk with me again soon.
I would love to. Thank you so much, Hugh.
Well, folks, that's about it for today's Sales Chalk Talk. We'll be back soon with another awesome Chalk Talk. We hope you'll join us then. Until then, make it fun and make it profitable. So long, Kate. So long, everybody. And good selling.